She stood alone at the courtroom doors, hands trembling, wearing the same faded uniform she had been arrested in, her name smeared across headlines as the maid who stole from a millionaire. Cameras flashed like lightning. Strangers whispered. Everyone expected her to break. Everyone believed the story written about her. Everyone, except the man standing quietly in the back, a scar running across his brow, holding his young daughter's hand. And when he finally stepped forward, just as the judge prepared to declare her guilty, he spoke 6 words that made the entire courtroom freeze. The millionaire turned pale, and the world discovered a truth no one saw coming. Maria Alvarez had worked in the Silvergate mansion for almost 3 years, long enough to memorize every creaking floorboard and every photograph of the millionaire, Grayson Locke, and his glamorous circle of friends. She was proud of her job, even if it was exhausting, because it meant her younger brother could stay in school and her mother could afford medicine. She moved like quiet sunlight, gentle, unnoticed, necessary. But everything changed the night she found the office door open. She remembered it clearly, the storm rattling the windows, her mop leaning against the wall, the faint glow of the desk lamp left on. Grayson Locke never left anything on by accident. She peeked inside, thinking he might still be working. Instead, the room was empty, except for the safe, hanging open like a wound. Papers were scattered, drawers ransacked, and the velvet jewelry box, containing a necklace worth more than Maria would earn in a lifetime, was gone. Panic flooded her. She reached instinctively to close the safe door, a reflex to protect what wasn't hers but still felt like her responsibility. Her fingerprints sealed her fate. By morning, Grayson Locke stood at his marble staircase with police behind him, a look of offended royalty etched on his face. "Officer," he said, gesturing at her with the casual cruelty of a man who had never been told no. "Search her locker. You'll find the necklace." And they did. Or so they believed. Maria's knees buckled when the velvet box was pulled from her backpack, the same backpack she had left hanging in the laundry room. She tried to speak, her voice tiny against the booming accusations. "I didn't. I swear I didn't." Reporters swarmed. Headlines bloomed like poison. Millionaire betrayed by Maid. Jewels stolen, trust shattered. Maria was dragged from her home within hours. Her mother cried until she fainted. Her little brother clung to her wrist screaming her name. The world painted her guilty without trial. The public loved a villain who couldn't fight back. At her bail hearing, she stood alone. Her court-appointed lawyer barely looked at her. People whispered as she passed, their faces twisted with disgust and certainty. But one pair of eyes watched her differently. In the back row sat a man with broad shoulders, quiet eyes, and a tiredness that suggested he had lived through battles most people couldn't imagine. His daughter sat beside him, hugging a worn teddy bear. The man didn't whisper. He didn't judge. He simply observed, as if pieces were falling into place inside his mind. Maria didn't know him. But he knew the truth wasn't what it seemed. And he knew Grayson Locke far better than anyone else in that courtroom. The trial date arrived like a sentence carved in stone. Maria walked into court feeling like a ghost, alive, but barely. She wore a simple blouse donated by a kind neighbor. Her hair was tied back with shaking hands. She had slept less than 2 hours, haunted by the image of her mother swallowing her tears and her brother asking if she would come home before graduation. People whispered as she passed the wooden benches. "Thief! Liar! Maids don't get lawyers. She's going to jail today." Grayson Locke entered moments later, wearing an expensive charcoal suit and a smile crafted for cameras. Reporters leaned in as he adjusted his cufflinks, playing the wounded gentleman flawlessly. It was, after all, easier to be a victim when the accused was poor, powerless, and alone. But Maria wasn't entirely alone. Sitting in the back, exactly where he had been the first day, was the quiet man with the scar. He watched her walk past with something like protective tension in his jaw, as if each insult thrown at her struck him instead. His daughter tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, are you going to help her?" He placed a gentle hand on her head. "If the truth needs a voice, sweetheart, then yes." The courtroom fell silent as the judge entered. Grayson's lawyer presented evidence with the confidence of a man who believed justice was for sale. Maria's lawyer offered little more than stuttered sentences. And then Grayson took the stand. He described Maria as nervous, untrustworthy, obsessed with the jewelry room. He spoke with the authority of wealth, and people believed him because he wore the right suit and had the right smile. Maria broke down quietly, tears slipping down her cheeks as she whispered, "I didn't do it." But her voice, small and worn, drowned in the sea of lies. The judge exhaled deeply, leaning back, preparing to deliver the words that would end her life as she knew it. That's when a chair scraped loudly from the back. Every head turned. The scarred man stood up, calm, unhurried, but carrying the presence of someone who had once commanded soldiers. He stepped forward, his daughter holding his hand tightly. "Sir," the judge said sharply, "sit down. This is not." But the man stopped only when he reached the center of the room. His gaze locked on Grayson, who suddenly stiffened, color draining from his face. Because he recognized him. The man had been there the night the necklace truly disappeared. And with the eyes of the entire courtroom on him, he finally spoke the 6 words that cracked the case open like thunder. "Tell them why you framed her." Gasps erupted. Grayson's jaw dropped. Maria's hands flew to her mouth. The courtroom froze. Because those 6 words were not a guess. They were a threat built on truth. And Grayson Locke knew exactly who this man was, and why his secret was about to explode.